After 75, you see life differently. You stop chasing, stop pretending, and start protecting what matters. I've learned these 5 rules the hard way, not from books, but from experience. They're not trendy, they're not popular, but they're true, and they just might save you years of regret. When I was younger, I believed peace was something you earned. After a good career, a stable family, a full bank account, I thought peace came after the hustle. I was wrong. Real peace doesn't come after the storm. It's what keeps you calm in the storm. And after 75, I've realized it's my most precious possession. You don't truly value peace until you've lived through noise, until you've spent years giving your energy to people who didn't deserve it, until you've stayed in situations that drained you, hoping they would change. The meetings, the arguments, the obligations I agreed to out of guilt, fear, or pride, those were the real thieves of my peace. Now, I protect my peace like it's gold. That means saying no more often than yes. No to people who bring drama. No to conversations that only lead to stress. No to guilt trips, manipulation, or one-sided relationships. I've learned that not everything deserves a reaction. Sometimes silence is the most powerful response. It also means choosing simplicity. I don't overschedule. I don't rush. I don't multitask my way through life. I slow down. I notice the sound of birds, the feel of sunlight on my skin, the beauty of an ordinary cup of tea. That's peace, and it doesn't cost a thing. Peace also comes from letting go of what I can't control, letting go of old grudges, letting go of needing to be understood by everyone. That's a big one. I used to exhaust myself trying to explain my choices, defend my boundaries, or fix things that weren't mine to fix. But after 75, I've learned this. If it costs you your peace, it's too expensive. Protecting your peace doesn't make you selfish. It makes you wise. You start to realize that not everything urgent is important, and not every invitation is worth attending. You don't owe your energy to anyone just because they expect it. So I guard my mornings. I'm careful with who I let into my inner circle. I avoid arguments I know lead nowhere. And above all, I choose stillness over stimulation. Peace isn't passive, it's a discipline. And once you find it, you'll wonder why you ever let the world take it from you. If there's one word that steals more happiness than failure or fear, it's this one. Later. I'll rest later. I'll take that trip later. I'll reconnect with them later. But at 75, I can tell you, later is a lie. I spent years pushing joy to the sidelines because I believed other things were more important. Work, responsibilities, money, being responsible. And while I was building a life, I didn't realize I was also postponing it. I put off the simple things. Walks in the evening, spontaneous laughs, time with people I love, thinking there would always be more time. But here's the truth I've learned. You don't always get more time. Life isn't a rehearsal. There's no guaranteed encore. There's only now. And when you hit your 70s, you begin to understand that every later you said in your 40s and 50s was a moment you'll never get back. We think joy is some grand reward waiting at the finish line, but it's not. It's hidden in the smallest, most ordinary things. A shared meal, a morning breeze, a genuine conversation, music from a past era that suddenly makes you feel 20 again. And if you're always waiting for the right time, you'll miss all of it. I've lost friends who never took the trip, who said, "Someday I'll write that book," or "Someday I'll apologize," or "Someday I'll dance again." Someday didn't come. That woke me up. Now, I do the thing. If I want to eat cake at 2 p.m., I do. If someone crosses my mind, I call them. If I feel like going barefoot in the grass, I go. I laugh when it's funny. I cry when it's honest. And I don't save my good clothes for special occasions. Waking up today is special enough. This isn't about being reckless, it's about being real with time. It's about remembering that joy isn't found at the end of the road, it's in how you walk it. You don't have to wait for permission to feel alive. So don't wait. Don't wait for retirement. Don't wait until everything is perfect. Don't wait until you're free. Because joy isn't something you find one day, it's something you choose every day. And after 75, I can tell you this with certainty. You'll regret the joys you delayed more than the risks you took. When I was younger, hustle felt like a badge of honor. If I wasn't busy, I felt guilty. Resting felt like laziness. I believed the more I worked, the more successful and respected I would be. And for a while, maybe that was true. But after 75, here's what I know for sure. If you don't have your health, nothing else matters. All the money, the titles, the achievements, they're worthless if you're too sick, too tired, or too broken to enjoy them. I've seen people build empires and not live long enough to enjoy a single day of peace. And I've seen others who barely made enough to get by but lived long, happy, active lives because they took care of the one thing that truly carried them: their body. Health isn't just about avoiding illness, it's about having energy, mobility, and clarity. The ability to get up in the morning without pain, to walk to the kitchen, to breathe deeply, to remember your grandchildren's names. These things seem small until you lose them. For decades, I skipped meals, lost sleep, sat for hours without stretching, pushed through exhaustion, all in the name of progress. What I didn't realize was that I was making silent trades, trading years off my life for projects I don't even remember now, trading mental clarity for temporary success. Now, my definition of winning has changed. I prioritize movement, not workouts to sculpt my body, but movement that keeps me limber, balanced, and strong enough to live well. I prioritize real food, not fancy diets, just whole, nourishing meals that fuel my brain and bones. I prioritize sleep. I no longer brag about being busy. I brag about going to bed at 9 and waking up without an alarm. I prioritize mental health because stress is just as toxic as sugar or smoking. The hustle culture sells you an idea that if you push hard enough now, you can rest later. But here's the twist. You may not get a later. And even if you do, your body may not be able to enjoy it. So if you're in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, take this to heart. Invest in your health like you invest in your future, because it is your future. No one gives you extra credit for working yourself into the ground, but life does reward you for taking care of the vessel that carries you through it. After 75, hustle means nothing to me. Health is everything. When I was younger, I thought having more friends meant having a better life. I wanted to be liked, connected, invited, so I kept adding people to my world. More contacts, more meetings, more surface-level conversations. But after 75, I've learned something simple but powerful. Depth matters more than width. I used to know hundreds of names, attend dozens of events, be part of every group and gathering, but in quiet moments, moments of loss, confusion, or grief, very few of those people truly showed up. Most connections were thin, pleasant, polite, but not real. Now, I'd rather have 5 people I trust with my soul than 50 who know my birthday. Real connection doesn't come from more, it comes from going deeper with less. A deep conversation that makes you feel seen. A friendship that holds space for your silence, not just your stories. A bond where you don't need to impress, explain, or pretend. That's what matters. I've also learned the value of solitude, not loneliness, but healthy solitude. Time spent getting to know yourself, understanding your patterns, healing old wounds. Most people are afraid to go deep. Not just with others, but with themselves. They stay busy and distracted, running from the stillness that might actually set them free. But you can't grow roots if you're always on the move. Depth also means spending more time doing fewer things, choosing the few relationships that matter and watering them, choosing to listen instead of constantly speak, choosing silence over noise, choosing meaning over momentum. In my 30s and 40s, I spread myself thin. I said yes too often. I tried to be everywhere, please everyone, and stay in the loop. Now, I live slower. I go deeper. I nurture the few people who feel like home. I laugh more during quiet dinners than I ever did at loud parties. I feel more alive during one honest conversation than I ever did scrolling through updates from people I barely know. If you're younger, let me tell you, you don't need a crowd, you need a core. Find the ones who love you as you are, the ones who stay when you're messy, the ones who ask how you really feel and are brave enough to wait for the real answer. Because at the end of your life, you won't remember how many names you knew, you'll remember how deeply you were known.